Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, and this is the International Outreach Think Tank meeting. And I'm going to go ahead and share this screen here. Let's see. So we could get right into doing the Bivens. All right, Michael, can you see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Go for it.
Bevan's declaration. Bevan's 6 unknown agents from 403 US 388 from 1971. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner to eliminate all conflict and false allegation. Is there anyone in attendance in today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, county, or township agencies present? Is there any response to the Bevins decision for the first time? Is there any response for the second time? Is there any response for the third time? Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or the municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here, must fully disclose their presence and purpose now, or leave the premises of this conference call. If they subsequently show up as federal witnesses, they are discredited for failure to disclose. Are you now or have ever received money or personal support of any kind from the intelligence community? Upon no response, this notice of the Bevins decisions, this meeting shall now proceed.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and start us off with a prayer. So if you guys just want to bow your heads. Dear Almighty Creator, thank you for gathering us here together tonight. We seek your blessings upon our discussions. Grant us the wisdom to engage in meaningful conversations that lead to productive outcomes. May our words be filled with grace and our ideas be fruitful. In Yeshua's name, we pray this. So be it. All right, guys, let me pull out my agenda here. So I want to apologize. I don't know if I got all of you confused, but in a quick effort to get the agenda out, I had a couple of dates that were wrong. I think I put April 8th, so people were confused and thought maybe the meeting was last night. And then I think on the agenda, I had last month's date, so I apologize for that. All right, so old business, I just want to say, so I had the pleasure of interviewing Tara Australis this past week, and it was so much fun. I really enjoy meeting all sorts of people from everywhere and talking about this process that we're doing with our state assemblies. And I'm still looking to schedule more state assemblies. I'd love to get assemblies that I have not got the chance to interview yet. I know I've had a few assemblies that we've done kind of a welcome back. I do have Colorado is on the mist. I think we're trying to shoot for sometime in May. They got a couple of interesting events that are taking place. So I think the goal is to schedule them after those events take place. so they can kind of report on, how that went. But if you're on another state and you have not been on the American States Assembly's podcast, I'd love to get you guys on. It doesn't have to be just your coordinators. It could be anybody that's willing to come on the podcast and represent your assembly. So it could be a marshal at arms, it could be a committee chair, it could be, pretty much anybody, even just an assembly member that, is brave enough to come on. I always give the questions ahead of time, and we really try to do our best to showcase your assembly in the best light possible. So reach out to me. Everybody should have my email address. If not, I'll put it in the chat again. And I also want to say that if you're on the pod or on this meeting for the first time and you're not receiving the invites, put your email address in the chat. I'll grab it and make sure I add you to the invite list. Okay. So we're going to just talk about a couple of few things, and I'd like to actually hear from all of you, see if there's anything new that you'd like to report on as far as outreach goes. And after kind of showing a few things that we've been doing here on New Jersey, and then opening it up to hearing from you all, then we're going to move on to the American Resurgence Project. And I know Louise has some things she wants to update us on. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen. I'd like to share with you guys the latest brochure that I created. Let's see. Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second. I haven't. There we go. That's why. I'm still trying to get used to how to share my screen when I have multiple screens open. So bear with me here. Okay. All right. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, let me try to blow it up maybe just a little bit. Can you actually, I don't know if you guys can read the content. Let me see here. So if you're not familiar with Canva, it's really a great platform to use to create brochures, flyers, even social media content. You could connect a link. So like if you're sending a digital, a graphic out that you want to share on Telegram or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, you can actually put a link for if you're doing Zoom presentations. And I know we are doing a monthly outreach Zoom presentation where I have a slide presentation that I do, and I've created graphics with that link. So when they get it, if they're looking at it on their computer, they just have to click the link with their mouse. But there's also a QR code. So if they wanted to, click it with their camera, they can do that too, or they could just copy and paste it into a browser. But anyway, this is a brochure that we did. This information was actually shared, this compiled from a couple of different other assemblies. So I kind of taken people's information off of their brochures and compiled it and then just created this graphic. And this came from a template that was already available, but then I think I want to say it was maybe gold and black. So where you see red in this area, this was gold, and this area with navy blue was black. And same thing with this. They had different graphics in here. I just changed it, to the graphics that you see now. I was able to add our state as a backdrop that you could mess around with the transparency to just kind of, add that little touch in there. But it's got all the pertinent information on the left side here. It talks about the United States Inc. is a for-profit corporation. I give the code. And then I put the state of New Jersey, and I put the DUNS number in there. And just basic information. This is, one part of it. And then the second page, or I have about the lawful government, and I used, the founders, for a graphic. I've got our peace flag on the house outside of a house, and we the people are back in session. The only thing missing is you. Won't you join us? I was trying to think of something that we could use to kind of grab the attention of people. I think this flag is always an attention grabber because people aren't used to seeing it. And so they're curious about it. And then in the back side of the brochure, I have our logo, and then I have a QR code that can take them straight to our website. And then I also have our website address, our email address for the outreach committee, mailing address, and a phone number. That phone number, by the way, is a Google phone number. I know some people don't like to use Google, but it comes in handy. Google Voice actually allows you to create a phone number, and it'll ring on your phone, but you don't have to share your actual cell phone number with anybody. And so I like that feature. And you could also receive text messages and all sorts of stuff. So it makes it, and you could call out from it as well. But anyway, does anybody have any questions? I do wanted to say, the one thing I wanted to say is that I'm going to upload this to the Ice Drive account so that everybody has access to it. Problem is that I think you need to open it up in Canva in order to edit it. And Canva offers a free membership. So you don't need to buy anything. You could just sign up and use the platform for free. And if you are downloading this, you can actually open it up in Canva and edit it that way. Anybody?
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hi, this is Sandra on San Diego. Could you please explain again that information about the phone number using Google?
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
if you download the app, it's called Google Voice. You can, it's also for free, but you download the app and look for a phone number in your area, and it assigns you a phone number, and you can attach your real cell phone number to it, and you could call out using that Google Voice number.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's really great because that way you're protecting your cell phone, but you're still allowing a way for people to connect with you with, by phone, and you could speak to them over the phone. I've actually, it's come in great handy using it for, correcting, being a recording secretary. So it's great. Anybody else have any other questions? Comments? I did want to
I think
say,
it's great.
oh, go ahead, Darren.
Just saying, I think it's a great initiative, Tammy. It looks really good.
Thank you. And I'm going to tell you what our plans are for using these brochures. So I bought, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm going to pull it up on my screen as well. But it's a little stand. You could actually add your business cards here too. But what I think we're going to do when we're going to purchase bulk brochure stands, and we're going to go around to different shops like bagel stores and maybe some diners, little mom and pop shops that, are in our local areas, and ask if we can put our brochures in their establishments. And so for us, my husband and I bought a laser printer so we can actually print these brochures ourselves. And, we don't have to send them out. But some people, if you want to just send them to a printer, I think that the laser printer for us was a little bit more economical. And we could print them whenever we want. And I knew, being on the outreach committee for our assembly, that it was going to come in handy. So I think it was a good buy for us anyway. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna stop screen sharing this. And I am gonna screen share. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, Annette, go ahead. You have a question?
Yes, please. Thank you. And thank you so much for taking your time to do this for us. I just wanted to ask if you could reiterate about the phone number thing. I'm very curious about what you said because I'm not sure if I heard it right.
Yeah, no problem. So Google has a feature. You could download an app on your phone, and it's called Google Voice. And you could get a phone number assigned. Usually, you could put your area in and it'll come up with whatever phone numbers are available in your area. And you pick one of the numbers and that becomes your phone number for Google Voice. You could use that so that if you are if you want to have a way to use a phone number and not give your phone number out to strangers, you can use that number, but it's linked up to your phone. So for me, when I get a phone call, it'll ring and it'll show the phone number. It'll show my phone number, which is 862-243-9921. It'll show that number across my screen, so I know that that's my phone number. Somebody's calling on that phone number. When I click on it, it'll say call coming from, and the person on the other end has to state their name. And so if it was you, Annette, you would say Annette, and I would hit accept, or I could send it to voicemail, and it'll leave me a voicemail, and it shows me their phone number. So it's a great feature because you could actually text with it, and you can, call people back as well. And they don't get to see, your actual, phone number, your
That's
real cell phone number.
that is spectacular. I did feel that it was putting myself at risk, putting my number out there. So I sincerely appreciate you giving us that little. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, we wanted a way to be able to communicate with people. And also, unfortunately for us, we've had some people that have, maybe disgruntled assembly members that I think have taken our phone numbers and signed us up for things. And so we get crank calls all the time because of that and had to learn our lesson the hard way. So anyway, it's a great tool to have, and it is Google, so just know that going in. But in any case, I think it's a great thing to have. So I did want to share with you guys in case, you like this idea and you want to use it for yourselves. Let's see here. I think this is it. Okay, so this is Amazon. Again, I know some people don't like giving Amazon their business, but this comes in a 12-pack, these, brochure stands. Comes in a 12-pack for $30. And so, we'll purchase this and we'll print up our brochures, and then we'll go around to local shops and ask them if we could put our brochures in there. So this is going to be something new that we're trying. And, after a couple of months, I'll be able to tell you guys how it's going. Anyway, all right, I'll stop screen sharing. All right. Let's see. So I thought it would be a great idea too. I don't know if anybody is on LinkedIn. And if you're unaware of what LinkedIn is, I know it's owned by Facebook, but it's basically a professional social media site where businesses and other organizations are up there, advertising who they work for, basically. And so I'm pretty sure that the Peacekeeping Task Force, I think Joe he's up on LinkedIn. Luis, do you know anything about that? Are you familiar with that?
I think he does have a LinkedIn. I don't think it's he uses it much though.
Okay, because I think he mentioned it to me at some point that he was up on LinkedIn, and so I thought that was another great opportunity, right? Because we're supposed to put ourselves out there. We're like supposed to be a lawful government, so
Sweet boy.
oh, we got a hot mic. Sorry, Jamie, I'm muting you. Um, yeah, so, LinkedIn is, you are putting yourself out there. I know for me, I had an account years ago for my business, and it's been dormant for a long time. And so I kind of just changed my business to the New Jersey Assembly, and then my title is the chairman. So, and it's a way for people to reach out or whatever, and, to show some legitimacy to your position anyway. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there as well. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? I think in the chat, somebody said, yes, Joe is on LinkedIn. Yeah. So, and I don't think it's about, LinkedIn is, I don't like Facebook, I don't like LinkedIn, but, these are things I think they're tools to let us, get our face out there, have us known. It's kind of like the industry standards, if you would. So I added, I can't say I've checked it in a while, but I'm up there anyway. All right, we have a few people in the chat. Make it, yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, and so I don't know. I like to use the tools if they're available to us, and any way that we could get our name out there and let the world know that we're here. The American government is not dormant and missing in action anymore. We are here, we are alive, we are well, and we are doing the work that we need to be doing. And so I think that that's another way for us to get it out there. The other thing that I wanted to talk about with you guys, if you're not doing it already on your states, and again, it's another great tool, is, these Zoom presentations, right? We get to record them. And once you record them, you can put your recording up to a YouTube channel. And I know, Luis, you have done that with the 1776 project and your union, I forget what you're calling it, but and it's really a great tool for us to have. I know for us on New Jersey, I created the New Jersey Assembly Outreach / Education Committee channel. And so all of our education pieces, all of our outreach pieces, we have up on YouTube. And I highly recommend everybody give that a whirl. If you're doing presentations, it's a great way to inform and educate the public, especially people. There's a lot of people that can't come to, they can't make your live event. So it's just a great way to send them a link so they can review a playback. Or if people just want to get educated, you can, like we've done an education piece on the paperwork. I did a side presentation on paperwork and why we do the paperwork and what are the benefits of the paperwork. We're going to move on to other topics, like the IRS, and how to file, how to exempt yourself once your status corrected, and we'll do a presentation on that, and different things of that nature. But we'll put them up on that YouTube channel so that people can go back and watch those playbacks. And so that's another excellent way to do outreach. And so, anyway, that's all I really have to present on outreach that we've been doing on New Jersey. And I'm going to open it up and hear from you guys. What have been some of your successes that you're doing on your states? Don't be shy now. Come on now.
I can share an initiative with you.
Yeah, I love it.
So next weekend, which is Easter weekend, we've got a market, which is the largest market of the year on the Sunshine Coast. And our communications committee has booked a stall there. And we've got about 22 people coming to volunteer. And the idea is to try and sell some of our papers. So we've got the Terra Australis. But it's obviously about outreach to the people that are coming through and trying to bring them into the assemblies. So the guys have created a few flyers to hand out. And once they're finalised, I'll drop those into the Telegram group as well. But just apparently there'll be about 15,000 people go through the market. So
That's a pretty big number of people that you'll be hitting. So let me ask you, because we've done some events too, and I've done 2 events. One was a health and fitness summit, and then I went to a tattoo event, which was very interesting. Not sure if it was the right venue, but in any case, I found it because it wasn't a venue that was specifically for information purposes. It was very hard to gather people's attention or even get them to come over to the table. So I sat there trying to say, what can we do to get their attention to come over to the table? So then I got out from behind the table and just had our business cards and brochures and started asking people questions like, I don't remember. I think it was like, hey, what do you think we're supposed to be, U.S. citizens or Americans? And I just started like getting in front of people and handing them the information. I don't think, that we got many people that were interested again, because I don't think it was the right venue for us. But when you go to these, if you've gone to these events already, what do you do to bring attention to your table?
So that's a good question, because we had a meeting last night. We're talking about how do we engage with people? What sort of hook questions can we ask them to work out whether they're even remotely going to be interested in what we've got to say? And we've got a bit of a challenge because we've got people who are enthusiastic and keen to get out and reach out to people, but really not a lot of experience. And so I've sort of been coaching to say there are some that we've just got to let walk past. We're going to end up having arguments and undoing good work rather than engaging with the people that might actually be interested in coming to the assemblies. So we've got a lot of learning to do. This is the first time we've done this type of thing. I'm very cautious not to try and curb the enthusiasm, and I think it'll be a matter of trial and error. We'll have a go at this. It's a reasonably low-cost initiative, and hopefully some good comes from it, but certainly there'll be some learnings from it. Obviously the bulk of that 15,000 people are going to be, they got the blinkers on. They got no idea there's anything even wrong with the world, so they're not going to want to hear what we're doing. But hopefully, if we can pick up 100 people or a couple of hundred people and bring them into the assemblies, that would be an amazing result. So it's worth having a go. We've had a fair bit of conversation around, how do we approach the people that come over and filter the ones that we should be spending time with, and what sort of information we can leave them with that hopefully brings them to look at the websites and turn up at a meeting. So it's all new for us. It's a learning curve. That's what we've got going on in the next couple of weeks. That and lots of meetings. We've got, we are encouraging so we went down the path of this structuring or establishing what you would call county assemblies. So we've got about 40 of those around the country, 30 to 40. It sort of changes a bit. And so we're encouraging them very actively to get together in a room at least once a month, because we want people to come together and feel the energy and get enthused. But this is our first sort of real public outreach. We do have some people that do a lot of presentations at sort of freedom movement groups and those kinds of things, particularly where several groups come together. and that's been quite successful. We did an article in the April edition of the Terra Australis, which was an invitation to what's probably the largest of the freedom groups out there. And they're not just the largest, they're also the ones that are most vocal in attacking us. And it's been really weird that we've had that sort of approach from them. But we thought if we do that in the paper, we put a public invitation for them to come and have a look. We're not asking you to drop your ties with the group you're in at the moment, but we want you to help us to stand the assemblies and get control of the system. And yeah, we'll see how that goes as well. But having that national paper has been a wonderful thing for us in terms of outreach.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing what the outcome was for you when we meet next month. That would be a great follow-up to see how that event went, and if there's anything you can share with us, you know, that we could all learn from. That would be great.
Shall do, no problem.
Awesome, thank you, Darren. Jay Brimage, you had your hand up. You put it down, or?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, did you have a question?
No, when it comes to Australia, I have a bunch of business contacts down there. And so when you guys really get your business assemblies in place, let me know, because I'll turn a bunch of people your directions.
That sounds awesome.
I'm engaged in outreach and research. And here on Washington, we're doing, we're going around the counties, doing outreach. And right now I'm doing extensive research with the Securities and Exchange Commission for the court, as well as the health system bonds, looking at all the corruption in the courts. FYI, there's a company by the name of WellPath Holdings. They hold the jail and prison medical contracts for 38 of the states here in America. And they're in a Texas bankruptcy court case. They were forced into a class action bankruptcy proceedings, $1.3 billion so far in the value of the bankruptcy. So if you go to your Secretary of State and look up WellPath, you can see who holds the county, state, and DOC medical programs.
Can you spell that?
WellPath, W-E-L-L, Path, P-A-T-H.
Thank you.
And right now, I've got a CPS related court case that we've been doing research out of Tennessee. It crosses 3 different states. It concerns a 10, 12-year-old little girl who was kidnapped in Tennessee. She's been held in cloistered custody, and she has over 6,700 related bonds on her medical program in her holding.
6,000 what?
And so, yes.
6,700
My
bonds?
goal is, we're looking through the Securities and Exchange Commission cross-bonding fine fraud in the corporate world. How do they make bonds on human capital?
That's awesome. I mean, I guess I'd love to hear about more about your findings. That really, you know, as we go along, because there seems to be so many of these kinds of stories, I'd love to be able to do the podcasts, interviewing people that are doing these kinds of stories, or this kind of research on this fraud that's been perpetrated on people. And so I'd hope that, maybe at some point when, you could reach out to me, I'd love to be able to get that on the podcast. These are the stories I think that need to be told. I think that kind of
Well, we have a little goal. I'm in a little group that has grown from 3 to 5 to we're approaching 350 wide in outreach. And so from the standpoint of anything that can be done to float the ship of states so that every state assembly rises a little faster, the more we share, the better off we are.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
So I did post my email at the beginning of the meeting in chat. jbrimage57 at Gmail. That's me.
Is it John? Are you John, or what's your first name? Jim? John?
Call me Mike.
Mike,
Everybody
okay.
calls me Mike.
Okay, all right, Mike. Are you not on my invite list? I'm trying to scroll up to find you.
I might be, but this is my first time being here.
Okay. All right, well, I'll make sure to get your email and make sure I have you. Okay,
Okay, well, thank you.
thanks for sharing that, Mike. All right, do you yield, Mike?
I do yield.
Okay, thanks. All right, Angie on Florida.
Hello, I just wanted to share the experience that I had when I lived in Lee County, Florida. There's a yearly gun show. It's a pretty big deal. A lot of people go to it, and we set up tables in the parking lot, pretty much near the entrance. So as people got out of their cars and walked in, we stopped them. We probably handed out about 150 brochures and talked to people. And immediately after that, I probably papered up 5 people. I don't
Wow.
know longer term how many people got papered up after that, because then I moved to Marion County with Annette. And we are currently in the planning phase. I keep starting to work on it, and then we get busy doing something else, getting people just walking into our office who want to get papered up. But Florida has a huge community that likes doing bartering, and they sell things too. It's fruits, vegetables, absolutely everything, not just food. And so we had the idea that we would host a bartering event on the property of where our office is, and have the office open and have volunteers, take turns doing 2-hour slots or something who people are interested in, and hand out brochures and things like that. I'd like to share how that works out after we're done on your podcast, if Annette would be willing to go on it. And I yield.
Awesome. I love all that. Yes, a gun show would really seem like an appropriate venue for something like this, for sure. I love that you're doing a bartering event too. That's great. And yeah, the invitation is open for you guys to come on and talk about that, if or anything else for Florida, because it's interviewing the states, right? Roz, go ahead on South Dakota.
Yeah, I don't know how many people know this, and I just wanted to share it with you in case you're trying to notice the people on your state. But if you want to notice any of the quote unquote de facto elected officials, you should be noticing the Capital Law Firm. So there's a Capital Law Firm that I believe holds the CEO of every state. And there seems to be one in all 50 states. But what is more interesting is there seems to be one in all of the UN countries. So it looks like, from my research, the capital law firms are directly involved with a international group that is causing big problems. They're definitely protecting agriculture. We actually had a situation on South Dakota where there's been a lot of theft, and I reached out to Doge, believe it or not. Doge actually came in on South Dakota, did a audit on farm credit services and shut them down. And we were able to use the cases that we had going on in court to do so. So I was very happy that Doge was working with me to get them shut down. I feel like we have such a big win in that area, and I'm real happy some of the evil's been taken out. But yeah, the Capitol.
That's a great, if you don't mind me chiming in here, that's not something to just skim over. That's actually a big win. So thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely, I'm very happy with the coordination with Doge, and I do believe they are doing good things. So definitely reach out to them with any kind of court cases and let them know, because I think they're getting involved, which is kind of exciting. But yeah, just to go back to those capital law firms, we were able to take some of the names and run them against the Secretary of State, and we found out that actually Doug Abrams is the CEO of the South Dakota. Yeah, so it's just great once you have that name, then you can really start getting particular about who exactly you need to notify, because I don't think it's the elected people, it's the people writing all their bills, right? And I actually sent something to Trump, and I said, look, you have to uphold the original Constitution and get these bar card holders out of here. You know, these elected officials that you guys are bringing in, give them AI, give them legal AI, and get these UN derivatives out of our country. You know, like our lands, and these subcontractors, they need to listen to us, right? So I made a letter, and I encourage everybody to write those letters, because there's no reason for these capital law firms to exist other than to serve global and the UN. So that's just my 2 cents on all that, and I yield.
So Roz, I've got a question, if you don't mind. If you have a contact that was receptive to you from Doge, would you mind sharing that in the chat?
So I really lit them up. And all you have to do is call their number now. Everything that I was going back and forth was email. You just call their number, and they'll just give them whatever court cases you have, and they're look what they did for South Dakota.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I
Thank
yield.
you.
You're welcome.
All right, Annette, go ahead.
Thank you, and I promise I won't take up all the airtime. I wanted to thank Angie for bringing that up. That's spectacular. Plus, what we were doing was looking at the de facto cases that were coming up in their whatever, they just boss people around, but in their county municipal buildings, and we were watching the cases that would most affect the men and women on the county. And if it was controversial stuff, we would bring our flyers, and of course we did not give them out in the building, but as the people storming out all mad, we were just kindly approaching and talking to them, and handing them a flyer and saying if they had any questions to give us a call. And we were really surprised at the response. I don't know if that's really a good thing to be on the de facto land. We knew not to be in the buildings, but we had a massive amount of men and women that were happy to talk to us and curious about why they were getting railroaded in there and how they can get free of all that. And it was a really good, in our opinion. So we're hoping that that was all okay. But it worked really good for us, and we've been doing it regularly.
Did you say that you're outside of the courthouse?
Outside of, what do you call those buildings that we go in and do where the commissioners are coming out? You know, the meetings that we go to? You know, when you have the commissioners meetings and they're making decisions
You're talking
on,
about the town council meetings?
yes,
So
pardon
the
me, yes.
municipal buildings.
Yes, correct.
And
So,
some of them are courthouses. It's kind of like a multi-purpose building in some towns. But yeah, you've got, like, I know in our town, we have the police department, we've got the court there, we've got the property tax office, we've got the code department, and where you have to get your permits, and it's all under one roof. So you were standing outside there after a town council meeting and handing out your brochures. I love it. It's
Yeah, because they were coming out very upset, very upset by the hundreds. So it was really good. And we've had some pretty good wins, which is exciting. I should tell you too, in our county that I'm not sure why, but all of the tax buildings, they've taken off Marion County off the buildings. They just say tax collector, all
wow,
of them.
interesting.
And our police departments are closing at 8 o'clock at night, which is confusing to all of us. But I just thought I'd share that too. So some things are changing, obviously. And
Oh,
thank you again for what you do.
oh, likewise. Thank you.
Love your enthusiasm. Have a great night.
All right. Anybody else want to share before we move on? Annette, you have your hand up again? No, okay. All right. So if nobody has anything else they want to share, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Louise. Oh, Roz, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that we actually have new people in South Dakota, and they were basically sovereign citizens. They went ahead and changed their status, but they never really found a home. So they are in court proceedings now. So, I put something over in the chat that says, hey, let's put billboards next to these courthouses. But really, should we be putting something in the paper to the sovereign citizens that don't have a home? I mean, is anybody really going to bother us if we do something like that? I don't know. It's just a thought, but I really hate to see these people without community because there's a lot of them just floating around out there. But that's just my idea. I
Well,
yield.
it's interesting because I never thought that we actually did have any sovereign citizens because I thought that you can't be a sovereign and a citizen, right? Because a
Wow.
sovereign is somebody that's free under God, and a citizen is somebody that owes their allegiance to the government. So you can only be one or the other. You can't be both. So when you say sovereign citizens, what do you mean? What do you just
I'm saying I've met people that have declared themselves
right, right.
as sovereigns, and I know the difference. You know the difference, but these people, they're floating around there and they don't know the difference. So when I say this is their self-declaration, and they need a home, they need education, and they need to be taught what they are and are not. So yeah, I think we could definitely find some of them in the courthouses. In one particular case, they have a guy who they have cut off, they're labeling crazy, and they're who knows where he's going to be. But the mother actually reached out to me through somebody else, and it's just a mess. It's a mess because we didn't get to them, and I feel really bad. But there's got to be some kind of easier way to find us for these people who are already making certain steps in the right direction. So, yeah, it's just a thought. I yield.
Thank you. I think that the word is getting out, I think Anna talks about this a lot, right? Is that when you hear something, um, some people dismiss it as, crazy talk, and then they hear it again, and then, it's kind of interesting to them. And then they hear it again, and then maybe they think, I should look into this. And then they hear more of it, and then it's like they go into a denial, and then they hear some more, and then they get angry, right? They go through the grieving process. So I think that that's really why it's taking us a long time to get more Americans and bring them back home to the land and soil. It's that process. And then, of course, we've got censorship, that for the longest time, this kind of information was being censored. If people started doing videos, it was taken down. And then you have a whole propaganda arm of, misinformation going out there. And so then you get fear mongering, and there's so many different tactics that they try to use. But nonetheless, I feel like there's many more people that are wide awake. They're familiar with this message. But I do think you're right. Like, why do we stand out? I think that message, and I think Luisa is going to talk about this a little bit, is why is our process the correct process, and why are we the only American government? You know, like we've got other groups that are, you know, and I've got people when they reach out to us and they're like, yeah, I want to learn more about your group. And I correct them right away. And I said, no, this is not a group. We are the American government. And so I think that we have to make that distinction right off the get-go, right from the get-go, make that distinction so that people know, and then explain to them why we are the lawful American government. And I love the whole history. I think we had it in the Resurgence newsletter that went out, right? The hereditary head of state. We had the whole story about James Clinton Belcher. We had the information about Anna and how the two of them came together in their union. And so I think that story really needs to be on the forefront, especially talking about the Great Seals and the families that they belong to, and you know how we were given our sovereignty from you know William the Conqueror, and you know and all this stuff, the missing history that people really need to hear, and that message has to get out. So I think it's happening. It's just taking a little bit longer. I know on our state anyway. There's a couple of challenges that we're facing here. We're facing the fact that we have all grown up in a world where the only thing that we're expected to do is to show up to a voting poll, push a button, and elect somebody, and we're giving away our proxy, and that's all we have to do. And I think that people have gotten used to that, right? I mean, if you grew up in a household and you didn't have to lift a finger, you didn't have to cook your meals, you didn't have to do your laundry, you didn't have to clean your house, and then all of a sudden, you know, if given the choice to do it yourself, what would you choose? You know, and so I think people have to understand the benefit to doing it yourself. And so that's the challenge that we're facing, and so these are all challenges that we have to somehow learn to overcome. And I always think that leading by example is the best way to pave the way. So all of you who are on here are a part of paving the way, showing others how it's done, and so that they're not so scared, or they're not you know, scared off by, you know, maybe something that they've never seen before, they've never done before, they're not sure of. But having that confidence that this is our American government, it's been missing in action, and it's our responsibility and our duty to stand up our government and to put our federal subcontractors back in their box, and to actually be the ones in charge again. You know, we the people have to be in charge again. And so so anyway, I think it's happening. You know, I see the shift, and most certainly, like you said, Roz, is that we've got Doge. Doge is doing a great job helping to clean up the mess. So we want to continue to hear those stories and support that, and keep going on with what we're doing here. So. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Luis so we can hear the updates with the project. Go ahead, Luis.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We got 30 minutes, so I will be quick. So in your chat there, I put all the documents that I'm going to share here today for you to download. And here is my notes. I'm going to go through these notes right here. Now, over the past month, I've been getting Anna's ear and going over the project details. So I'm putting here on the notes. These are two of the project edit videos that we went over, that I went over with Anna on our website. Here, let me see, hold on. Oh, on our website. So project edit 1, project edit 2, part 2. I'll be doing more with her every Friday as she has time available to go through the website, do all the edits. You can see there's been additions to it, especially there at the top, our actions taken, our standing to do so. As I was talking to her, I got the information from her that where I can put all the evidence here on the website of what Tammy is saying. When somebody talk to you and talk about join our organization, make it clear, we're not an organization. We're not a group. We are the lawful American government. And when they challenge that, you can go to this website, which it hasn't been launched yet, but this is the purpose of it. It's going to be launched. And when it gets launched, it's going to have all the evidence that you can present to whomever is questioning what authority you have to say that we're the American government. So that's what Anna and I are doing with this website now, is adding those pieces of information to it. And it's pretty much, I have pretty much everything that's going to be here, but some more of the documentation she needs to dig out and give to me. As far as this video down here, we talked about audio, no audio. Well, I decided I'll do it all. So I'll keep the video with no audio, but here I have a link, play video with audio to the left there. And then here I have a link to the right, play audio only. So you have whoever lands on the page will have those options. I put in the chat this document here. I created for Anna as a snapshot of the program, of the project. She went through the execution video of the whole, almost 2 hours of it, but this is my summary of the project itself, which I'm giving to everybody. And I think this is a good reference guide, I call it, for everybody to have. It may get edited, but I think it's pretty much done. But if it does get edited, then I'll give you the edited version. We don't have a committed volunteer yet for the newsletter. So it depends on if somebody, an editor or publisher, commits to it on a regular basis, then we'll have it. If we don't get someone who have the time to do that, then we won't have it. Phases 1, 1A, and 2, updates on that. There is some information that Anna shared with us at our business meeting. At the business meeting, she told us a piece of information that said that the state assembly, the international state assembly that we're building now, is a separate state assembly than the state assembly that's on the national jurisdiction. I guess I didn't quite say that right. What she said was there are 2 state assemblies. One is international, one is national, which I didn't know that. I think most people didn't know that. So I wanted to help with the organization of the county assemblies on the national level. She did give me approval to do that. And we're going to be looking at the structure of how the international jurisdiction American government is set up and the national jurisdiction government is set up, and try to get the national jurisdiction set up properly. And I'm going to identify one county in each state to help in this endeavor to reconstruct the national jurisdiction government. And you can see there in the chat, I put down I gave you the outline of what I'm looking for in a county assembly. If you know any county assemblies out there that's doing outreach or want to be the county assembly that leads in the outreach for their state, then have them contact me. This document here will tell you what it is that we're going to be purposing to do. And we are having meetings. It's going to be at the PKTF strategy task force session. Those sessions are going to be where we hold these meetings for the county assemblies and the reconstruction there. So anybody who interested in that, any counties who is interested in that, just contact me for that. you can go to YouTube and to these links right here. Will get you updated on what's going to be happening on the national scene with the reconstruction of the United States. Now, the other thing that I'm bringing to the table here is something, and you'll see it in those videos, those 3 videos, one of those will tell you, is Anna, well, I asked Anna a question a year ago this time. And I was asking her, how is the state, the county, and the townships organized? Well, out of that string of questions, she said that our American government is a town. It is not a township. What was supposed to happen after the townships was created by the territorial government, a town for the American people was supposed to be created. There is no towns, no American representation on the soil jurisdiction. We're going to begin reconstructing the soil jurisdiction at the town level. And that's what the counties are going to spearhead. So you'll see that where I said new, added more teeth, but that's going to be part of that teeth of organizing the towns for every county. That's going to be added to our phase 1A and 2. What's coming as far as this production of an advisory video series? Now there's two video series that I'm working on. One is the Assembly's training series that I did put together the first 4 modules of. The second one and the 5th one and the other ones are coming. As I talk to Anna and get more information, I'll finish developing those modules. Those modules are to help the assemblies walk through from beginning to end how to launch the project. That's what those modules are for. The advisory video series is a series of videos that I ask specific people with specific expertise and experience to give advice to the assemblies and to the American State Nationals on certain topics. That video series I am working on, and that should be completed by the end of April. And I'll put those up on our 1776 Union platform. Phase 3. Anna sent, everybody knows about the 64-page handwritten letter that Anna just wrote to Trump. So in phase 3 is where the Federation and the peacekeepers began to communicate and have a sit down with the corporate heads. So Anna delivered this letter to Trump. So I put out an email there to Anna to ask her, can the PKTF take the next step and call Trump and ask for a sit-down meeting with him? So I'm waiting for her response on that. We haven't gotten a response yet from the FBI's letter that Boyd wrote about Cheryl and the sovereign citizen propaganda and stuff that's being perpetrated upon nationals. Now, I also gave you the strategic overview of how everything is going to be fitting, everything fits together in the project. What's in blue, all the blue banners is what the assemblies will be doing. And all the other boxes that have just the regular black is what the phase 3 peacekeepers will be doing. And that's what this graphic is. So I was just giving that to you. Because we've been working through this in the strategy task force and with the PKTF liaisons. And to the right here is the different levels and tiers of what we're working on in phase 3. So Trump strategy task force has already started. Trump the capitulation negotiations. Anna sent out that letter. And we're going to follow up with try to get a sit down with him. The diplomatic immunity status is what's coming up next, where we contact the Department of State Department to talk about the passports and foreign nationals, the title of foreign nationals being added to their databases. And security capitals is the strategy where you go from, where the peacekeepers go from county to county, talking to the county sheriffs, the governors, and things like that. And then transference of government county tours is where we follow up to try to get the demands and the remedies for the people implemented across the nation, starting with governors. That's what the phase 3 is, and that's what we're working on with the peacekeepers. Phase 4 and 5, Anna did give permission to start working on the official American government website. We started our first meeting here today. We're looking for web developers, graphic designers, content creators, anybody like that who like to volunteer to be on the website development task team. Just contact me. Those meetings will be Wednesdays, 10 a.m. in the morning Central Time, and we'll come back with some designs for you after we, start. Well, I did give those designs before about what the government website was, the 2 ideas that we had. But we'll be drafting other ideas, and we'll send them off to Anna to get her approval on what design she wants us to go with. So that's what we're working on there. Jamie?
Oh, hey, Louise, I just wanted to comment and say that that's just, your plan is just absolutely just floors me. The detail and everything, you have this organized so well is just amazing. And I'm assuming you did all the organization all by yourself and probably have done lots of studying and really hitting the books. And Louise, I take my hat off to you. You and Anna are absolutely the 2 most amazing women I have ever seen. Both of y'all are just wow. Totally wow.
Well, I have to tell you, I have to confess, it wasn't just me. And this is my confession. If it wasn't for Tammy, if it wasn't for Joe, I would not be here.
Well, hats off to Tammy and Joe too. And thanks, Tammy, for all the work you do. And I'd like to get with you sometime soon, see if I can get a couple more people from Louisiana Assembly to interview, for you to interview us.
I'd love that. And I will say that thank you for your kind words. Luis really has been the one, I think, behind this project. She's being, kind with including me in this project. I've only entered my input, given her my input on some things, and I started this platform without even knowing that Luis had this project in mind. But yeah, Luis has, I would agree with you, Jamie, she's done a really great job at organizing this, and putting it all together and just presenting it in a really well thought out way. I've got a question, Luis, going back to, I think when we were talking about the different, working with counties and different things like this. And I'm just going to address the elephant in the room because I know a lot of people, some people have issues with, getting the counties up and going. And I just want to be clear here, right? When we're talking about working with the counties, I know that Anna has stated that our states have to be fully functional before we can get our counties going. So what is the strategy going to be? This is going to, I'm assuming that this is going to depend upon where your state is in the assembling process, correct?
Well, so my approach is different. I think that now the General Assembly of the international state is all the power that you're ever gonna get. meaning if you stand your militia pillar, your General Assembly, and your international business pillar, you get no more power. Those pillars are your service pillars. This is, she explained that those are your service pillars. Your General Assembly, once you stand your General Assembly, you have all the power you need to function as a government, telling your employees what to do, doing your notices, passing your public laws. So I'm going from the approach that all the assemblies who are in session is already in a position to do everything that I said in this project. You don't have to be seated. That's one perspective that I have. The other perspective that I have, if you want to require that your state be seated, then why not kill two birds with one stone and seat a county at the same time you seat your state? She's always said that the county assemblymen, if they call it assemblymen, can wear two hats. They can work on the national jurisdiction and they can work on the international jurisdiction. Which offices can, I don't know, but that we'll get clear with that. So if they want to seat, not stand, if the state want to seat their states, they can seat their state at the same time they seat one county.
Yeah, well, I think that, some of the concerns anyway are that by trying to get a county up and function at the same time trying to get a state up and functioning, that there's just so much work to be done that you'll be taking the focus off of getting the state standing, and putting your focus and attention and time and energy into getting the state standing. And I just wondered what everybody's thoughts were on that, because I know for me, and I can only speak from my own personal experience, is that when you hit a hiccup in your assembly, meaning that somebody goes sideways, okay, and then you're stuck with dealing with that issue, that sets you back some. And then you're tasked with the challenge of getting people active. So not only are you rescuing them, but now you're trying to activate them and get them into action mode. And so I think it is a legitimate concern, jumping ahead and trying to get a county standing when your state isn't anywhere close to being there, like fully functioning.
Yeah.
From my understanding, and I could be wrong here, but from my understanding is that the four pillars, kind of the structure of your state assembly is going to be somewhat similar in your county. And so as you're populating your state, naturally you're going to start populating your counties. But you're going to get the practice from serving on the state assembly and then kind of morphing into the county. And I could tell you right now that it's hard to get people to be active in their state assembly, let alone a county assembly, and then ask them to wear two hats and serve both the county and the state. That's just here on New Jersey. And in interviewing some of the other states, I think a lot of the other states are having the same issues. So I'm just concerned that, like I said, this is a very well thought out and very excited to get going on this, honestly. But I'm a little concerned that we might be, putting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. One thing I being from my, working on township government and village government, I think something that a dynamic that people don't realize is that it's easier actually to get someone on their town to participate in government than someone on your county or someone on your state, because that's your town. You have a vested interest in your town. And that attitude you will find on your town and that energy and that excitement you'll find on your town, then that would be missing on your state because you're further and further away from what's close to home for that particular person. And I have that experience being on township government and village government. They actually don't want a state to come in there and tell them what they're gonna do. So there's some dynamics there that I don't think people understand that actually comes into play when you're talking about government. And then we're talking about self-governing. Self-governing, teaching the people to self-governing has to start at the town level. Yeah, they self-govern, you're self-governing at your town level. And these are my perspective, how I've experienced things. Mm-hmm. Some states is going to have to decide, if they want to focus on seeding their state and they don't have the resources or the energy to do seeding their states and visiting their counties, then they'll decide to seat their state and not focus on their counties. They have the prerogative to do that. So the state assemblies would have to decide how they want to proceed. And I think it's more synergistic myself. I think if the states concentrated more on their counties, they'll get more people in their state to serve. That's how I see it. Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see that that perspective and see if that's
if it worked. Mm-hmm.
if that's been working for other states. And that's why I think this is so beautiful to be able to have a platform and share the successes and the challenges and, what can we do different? What could we do better? That's what's so beautiful about this process. But I yield. Thank you, Louise.
Hey, Louise, can I just say something?
Yes.
I tried raising my hand. It doesn't work for some reason, but I'd just like to confirm what you're saying. So we did a tour of the country last year, myself and Mookie, and we did 36 odd presentations in different towns and whatever else. And most of those towns set up or started local assemblies. So we ended up with a group. We've got a Telegram group that's got 80-something people in it, which is our coordinators from across the country. So we can obviously share lots of information with that group, and communication is our biggest challenge by far. When we went to the National Assembly, so we set ourselves up as 7 individual states, and we found it really challenging because small working groups and working individually, we weren't all connected and helping each other in the way that we ought to have. And we started doing that toward the end of last year, and then realised that the National Assembly makes a lot more sense. So we had initially a small group of about 12 of us that were doing all of the work and sort of spearheading the initiatives. And as soon as we went national, because we had all of those local assembly coordinators actively working to grow their local assemblies, our leadership team has jumped from 12 to 80. And of course, not every one of them is absolutely active and whatever else, but at least we've got a much bigger decision-making pool now and a resource pool to draw on. Still struggling to get people to take on positions in committees and those sorts of things, but it's a lot better now that, and I'm just confirming what you said. I think the fact that we went with that, pushing the local assemblies where people were working in their local communities to grow the numbers, has worked in our favour.
Mm-hmm.
So I yield.
Thank you, Dan. Mm-hmm.
That's good to hear. Thank you for sharing that, Darren.
Well, I yield if nobody else has any more questions.
Yeah, not a question, but yeah, I again concur, Louise. I think the work you're doing is wonderful, and it's given us a lot to think about here as well. We obviously need to have that strategy task force up and running. Mm-hmm. I love the messages that have come out this morning in relation to the we are government. we've sort of pussyfooted around that ourselves, and reality is I think that's what's going to bring people in as well. When they can see we have a definite strategy, we do know what we're doing. We say quite regularly, it's funny, we had a meeting, we sort of do a bit of outreach to the other groups. We had a meeting a couple of months ago now with a reasonably well-known small group that has a really detailed plan about how they're going to get control of the country. And it involves elections and working with politicians and all that rubbish. It just isn't going to work. But they commented that we had, their initial comment was something along the lines of they pictured us as hippies living in the bush, self-sufficient. That's what they thought we were all about. That was a bit of an eye-opener to us. And I got Jack of the conversation and shut it down and said, they need to do a bit more research before they start telling us how we're doing things wrong. But I love what you're doing, and we'll definitely pick up on this stuff for here as well. Look forward to working with you on it. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Darren. Now, the section of the links, the video links there for phases 1A, 1 and 2 will be more of the concept of the county assemblies and organizing the towns. So you can get an idea of where the thought processes is coming from and how it will work.
Awesome. And that's in, so I'm looking at the links you shared. Is it the April?
These right here in this section.
Okay, and this is in your notes, right? The one, I'm just trying to figure out which one that you shared in the chat. It's your think tank notes.
Think tank notes, yeah.
Gotcha, okay. Luis, do you want me to, I could share this out when I share the link, I can share these attachments.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, does anybody have anything else they'd like to share or comment about before we end our meeting tonight? All right, well, I'm going to say thank you, Louise. I look forward to reading all of the attachments and getting more familiar with that. And just remind me again, you said you're meeting with Anna to review a few of these things. Do you have that set up yet? Or I know she's really busy.
We meet on Fridays.
Oh, that's right. Awesome. Okay, and then also just a reminder that you're doing a meeting for the web design on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard.
Right.
Right? Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. Well, mark your calendars. Our next meeting for next month is going to be May 14th. Okay, May 14th, 7:30. All right, everybody? Okay, well, thank you for being here and have a great night. Go and rock out your assemblies with your outreach.
Thanks.
See you next
Thanks,
month.
Tammy. Thanks, Louise.
Good night,
Thanks,
Tammy.
everybody.
Thank you very
Good
much,
night.
Louise.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Night.